All right, we are live. Is everyone ready?
Yep.
Let's go ahead and get started. Thank you, everyone, for attending November Platoon graduation and demo day. My name is Tom Preet. I'm the lead instructor here at Code Platoon. First, I'd like to take this moment to thank all our volunteers, mentors, teaching assistants, and board members who work so hard behind the scenes to make Code Platoon's November Platoon a success. For those of you who are not familiar with Code Platoon, we are a nonprofit coding boot camp with a mission to train veterans and veteran spouses to become professional software developers in an immersive 14-week program. And what you will see here this afternoon is the result of the last 2 weeks of these groups is applying what they've learned the previous 3 months. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our first group. If you didn't think cryptocurrency market was entertaining enough and need more of it, I bring you HedgeFun.
Thanks, Tom. Good afternoon. First, I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. Family, friends, alumni, and industry professionals alike. Over the last couple of weeks, our group has created HedgeFun, a competitive fantasy sports style cryptocurrency trading platform. We'll provide some details shortly, but first, let's introduce ourselves. My name is Kyle Stiff, and I served for 4 years in the Air Force as an aircraft maintenance technician. My favorite thing about crypto is volatility.
Hello, my name is Andrew Austin. I served 7 years in the Air Force as a vehicle operator, and my favorite thing about crypto are its logos and names.
Hello, my name is Jose Rodriguez. Spent 7 years in the United States Marine Corps as an automotive technician. My favorite thing about crypto is it's a diverse market and fast-paced percentage changes that keeps its users engaged.
Hello, my name is Michael Orland. I served 6 years in the United States Army Reserve as a medic and a nurse. And my favorite thing about crypto is how each currency seeks to solve a problem.
Hi, I'm Joe Patano. I'm a 6-year U.S. Army veteran and former aircraft maintenance technician. I knew very little about crypto at the start of this project, but I've learned a lot along the way.
Hello, my name is Kevin Doan. I am a U.S. Air Force veteran and former RPA pilot. The thing I like about the crypto market is its volatility. So why hedge fund? There is an underserved market of users who want to participate in today's $2 trillion cryptocurrency market. Hedge fund was created to introduce anyone interested in becoming part of this blossoming digital currency market by creating a platform that allows people to experience the exciting market volatility within the cryptosphere without investing real money. The app seeks to draw users in with the competitive edge, while also teaching people about the esoteric world of cryptocurrency. What is HedgeFun? HedgeFun is designed as a game that lets users test their cryptocurrency knowledge against each other. The format allows them to create a virtual portfolio of cryptocurrencies. The seed idea for the app was intended for actual fund managers to give their interns a way to test their financial abilities in a competitive fashion with real-time data of current cryptocurrencies. Now, I'm going to pass it over to my buddy Andrew, who's going to talk about how hedge fund works.
Thank you, Kevin. So how does hedge fund work? Well, hedge fund works by allowing users to create their own cryptocurrency ETFs, which can be thought of as a group of cryptocurrency stocks. These ETFs can be entered into different leagues, providing a competitive dynamic. Users can assess how their selections match up against each other based on real-time market data. Users have the ability to manage their portfolios and reevaluate their holdings to stay competitive. The platform uses real-time crypto market data to calculate individual performance, and the app is equipped with multiple features to aid the crypto selection process. Now I'm going to hand it off to Jose, who will do a demo of our application.
Thank you, Andrew. So let's say I'm new to the crypto market and I'd like to get more familiar with it. Lucky for me, my friend invited me to join his league on the latest crypto fantasy trading application, HedgeFun. Why don't we log in and give it a try? Okay, so once I log in, I'm immediately brought to the dashboard. It allows me to navigate anywhere on the site. Since I'm new, it's probably best I check out the how to play, which shows me how to join the league, interact with ETFs, and compare performances. The site even has a live ticker tape that updates with current prices. Now, before I create an ETF portfolio, I want to do some research on popular crypto that I've been hearing about. Let's check out some awesome looking cryptos on the crypto search feature that demonstrate the crypto market's performance, and maybe we can see if we can find the appealing cryptos to invest in. Now that I'm familiar with the market, I can purchase the currency that I want to build my ETF with. However, I need to create a new ETF. To create it, I simply give it a name and select the league I want to join. Now I can select this ETF and use the funds I'm given to invest how I see fit. Each ETF will allow me to invest up to $10,000 of available funds in my account. I've been hearing a lot about this Dogecoin, so I think I'm going to go all in on that. And then maybe I'll throw $1 to Ethereum as well. Now I'm going to navigate to the leaderboard and compare my ETF performance with other competitors in my league. The market data updates every minute, and the league leader at the top is determined by the sum total of the ETF's profit. The leaderboard will also display the average percent change between now and the moment the currency was purchased. This can appear like a lot of data at first, but luckily I can also condense this leaderboard for a cleaner looking appearance. To aid in evaluating all of my stock performances, one of the coolest features we have is the crypto graph, which provides a visual representation of one day, week, or year's performance of the currencies I've added to my portfolio. As you can see here, at any moment I can sell any of my currency at its current value by going to my stocks and pressing the sell button, which deposits the value back into my ETF's bank. This allows me to repurchase other high performers and gain an edge in the competition. Now let's grab a quick buck on Bitcoin. Just like that. Great. And if you don't feel like joining another league, I also have the ability to create my own and invite friends by filling out a simple form on the Create a League page. After the league's creation, any enthusiast can join and submit their own team of cryptocurrencies. Now I'm going to pass it back to Andrew, who's going to elaborate more on the technologies used in this project.
Thank you, Jose. Now I'm going to explain the technologies we employed in its architecture. HedgeFun was built using multiple tools. The development of the backend was completed using a Postgres database, Django coupled with Django REST framework to connect the front end, and Django cron to update all user market data in minute-to-minute intervals. The front end was developed with React.js coupled with Material UI. HedgeFund aggregates all of its cryptocurrency market data from CoinGecko's API and includes the ability to invite friends to join new leagues via text using Twilio's API. The team also became quite familiar with version control as the project evolved using Git and GitHub. Now I'm going to pass this off to Joe to talk about team collaboration and technical challenges.
Thanks, Andrew. Our team excelled by taking advantage of many resources to aid in our collaboration, such as daily stand-ups and stand-downs, and utilizing a Trello board to track our progress. We also implemented code reviews and pair programming to ensure good coding practices. The team participated in daily design and functionality reviews as we developed and scaled the capabilities of HedgeFun. As we worked through technical challenges of the project, our communication and teamwork continued to improve. And while we're on the subject of challenges, building a complete web application from scratch and creating an interesting and fun game in 2 weeks is no easy task. In addition to working with technologies that were fairly new to us, we had to learn even more as we tried to implement core features. From cool animated effects to near real-time updating of crypto prices in our database, there was a lot to figure out as we worked. The app also relies on integration of data from third-party APIs, which limited what we could do and how we could do it. We accomplished a lot more than we thought possible in such a short amount of time, and we're very proud of the finished product. And now I'll hand you over to Mike, and he's going to talk about stretch goals.
Thank you, Joe. So moving forward, there are additional features that we would like to incorporate into HedgeFun. To begin with, the game is open-ended. So one feature we would like to implement is giving the user the ability to set an ending date or a target dollar amount for a league, at which point the game would end and a winner would actually be declared. We would also look to create a live draft system for each league that limits each crypto to only being chosen by a single user. We'd also seek to expand the scope of HedgeFun to incorporate leagues that use traditional stocks. And finally, we'd like to incorporate a way for users to learn about the vast array of different technologies behind each cryptocurrency. And this concludes our presentation of HedgeFun. So we would like to thank you all for your time and open the floor up to questions that you might have.
Great. Thanks, HedgeFun. We have a couple of questions from the YouTube chat. So where did you get the crypto prices? And also, if a new cryptocurrency comes online tomorrow, how easy would it be to add to your platform?
I can take that one. So all of the crypto data is actually taken from CoinGecko's API, which is kind of limiting because it only allowed us to grab like cryptos in groups of 100, and it's typically sorted by the market cap. So new cryptos, they'd be kind of hard to integrate into it using this API. You could set the API to grab crypto. I guess it would be like on a different page, but you'd have to set that in the actual API call. So it could be done. It would just be a little bit more difficult.
Awesome. Last question. What was the biggest challenge during the project?
I could take that one again. I'm sure that the team could add to it, but I think the biggest project or problem that we faced was right in the beginning. We had this idea to make this app, but we only had 2 weeks to do it. So we had to kind of whittle down, what we wanted to make into something that we knew we could create in 2 weeks. And so we took probably a day to accomplish just coming up with a design idea that we all felt comfortable with that time constraint. And then we actually ended up building the back end to be able to sort of integrate the stretch goals that we wanted to meet. We actually made sure that was built so we could do that once we got to that point. So oh yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I guess I can piggyback on that and say that in the beginning of our group, I guess like when you first join a group, it's hard when you all have conflicting ideas. I think that was one of the challenges we faced in the beginning. So we all had different approaches to the project. We all kind of conflicted and butted heads a little bit, but overall we developed a good understanding of each other once we got to work with one another, and it all worked out for the best, I think.
Awesome. Great job, HedgeFun. Next, I'd like to introduce our next group, Livable, which will assist me in finding the perfect location on my needs or based on my needs and wants. Take it away, Livable.
Thank you, Tom. Hello, everyone. We'd like to present to you our app, Livable. But first, here's the team behind it. My name is Daniel Manfield. I'm a Navy veteran, and I worked on the front and back end.
My name is Steve Lawless. I was an Air Force linguist, and I worked on front end and some design.
Hello, I'm Michael Zura. I worked on the front end, and I'm an Air Force vet.
I'm also an Air Force vet, Isaiah Bragg. Spent my time as an aeronautical engineer, and most of my time on this project was in the back end. So, pop quiz. What is the first rule of real estate? You get it? It's location. Second rule, location also. Third rule, see rules 1 and 2. Location is so important to real estate. You can upgrade countertops, you can paint walls, and you can add that plush, super nice wide plank flooring. You could even add on another bedroom, but you can't change location. But we don't care about just any good location for anybody. It needs to be the right location for you. However, the current tech offerings today do not have a value-based approach to help you determine if a location is right for you. They focus on narrowing your search by square foot, bedrooms, and pretty pictures, which is fine, but they are missing the first, second, and third rules of real estate. Home buyers are forced to do their research alone. Technology allows us to experience the world in a very personalized way. Netflix homepages look different for everybody. My Amazon suggestions are unique to my shopping habits. My Instagram, creepily enough, knows exactly what I want to buy before I even do. Why wouldn't I want to ensure that the biggest purchase I make is unique to me as well? This is exactly why Livable was created. Livable lets you decide what matters to you. What do you like to spend your time doing? Are you interested in staying active outside or at the gym? Is the school your kids go to the very most important thing in determining where you'll live? Livable isn't for those just looking for a pretty house. It's for those that want to live. It's for those that know that a house is just the launch pad for your life. It's a place to take off from and explore what makes you unique, engaged, excited, healthy, and happy. In a world where many knowledge workers have the ability to choose where they want to live, regardless of job location, Livable can help them find the home that's just right for them. With our algorithm, we intake your preferences and provide a score for a location to help you compare it to other spots. We also pair your scores with maps and graphical representations of the data to help you make sense of your score. We help you find your Livable. And now I'll hand it off to Steve to walk you through the app and how Livable actually works. Steve?
Thanks, Isaiah. As Isaiah said, Livable lets you go beyond what sites like Zillow or Realtor.com give you in terms of information, and it allows you to find out if that nice house you're looking at really is for you. After surviving my first winter in Chicago in a decade, I'm ready to go somewhere warm. So let's say I get a job working at a certain game publisher in California. In anticipation of the big move, I start looking at houses near the office, and I found a really nice looking 3-bedroom house that's also in the area. Well, that house itself looks really nice. I know nothing about the area, and like Isaiah said, it's all about location, so I turned to Livable. After quickly signing up, I'm given access to a form into which I can enter my work address if I want to include it in calculating my score. Next, I could select how close I would prefer to be to different things. I'd like to not sit in traffic every morning to go to work, so I'll set the work slider to 10. Additionally, I don't want to go too out of my way to go grocery shopping or get food, so I'll set that to 10 too. Well, I enjoy getting out of the house and doing things sometimes. I'm mostly a homebody, so I'll set this to 5. Also, I'm childless and I have no plans to have kids in the next few years. I'll be starting school anytime soon, and I don't want to deal with those dang kids on my lawn, so I'll keep the slider at 0. And lastly, when I do go out on the town, I usually like to go see a concert or a movie. So I'd like to be close to theaters and live venues, so I'll set that to 10. After I save my preferences, they will be used to calculate what we call the livability score, or in other words, how well an area suits you based on what you decide you want to be close to. Now that I'm at the main screen, I'll put in the address of the house that I found earlier. After that, we'll travel to the area and then be presented with our livability score. All right, 100 out of 100, nice. We also get a brief overview here of things like the average income for the area, its crime score compared to the national average, how much of the housing in the area is occupied by renters versus owners, and a by-category breakdown of your livability score for that area. Here we can also see that most categories have a perfect score, meaning that the house is close to at least some shopping, food, entertainment, and recreation. And since both the house and the workplace are within a few miles of each other, I get a really good score there too. On the remaining tabs of the page, I can look at a map that corresponds to each of the preferences that we chose earlier. Here we can see some local schools, and then our food options. Next, we can see some shopping around the house, and also some parks and other recreation. Lastly, we have entertainment values that are near the house. While this house is really nice, close to work, and in a good area for me, it's also on the market for $2.5 million. So I went and found a more affordable house that I'd also like to check out. Also, I changed my mind about some of my preferences, deciding to be less curmudgeonly when it comes to kids, and now I want less noise and crowds, so I want to be away from live venues. So after putting in the address and checking out our score, we see that this house is a lower score than the first, but this is mainly due to it being farther away from work. And I like both houses, but for almost $2 million less, I think I'll choose the second house. Now, I'll let Daniel talk about the tech and some of what's going on behind the scenes of Livable.
Thanks, Steve, for the awesome demo. So for the front end, we use React.js, Chart.js for the graphs, React Globe for the awesome background animation, and some styling components for Material UI. For the back end, we use Python and Django, utilizing Django REST framework and JSON Web Token for user authentication. For our database, we use Postgres. Google had a lot of APIs for us to try out. We eventually just went with Google Maps and Google Places. We used Atom to get the neighborhood data for the graphs and OpenTripMap for the map marker data. There were a lot of crime APIs we tried to use. However, none of the data that was being returned matched how we wanted to display it. This leads me to our next topic, our stretch goals. We wanted to include a heat map that showed crime levels near the address provided. Unfortunately, we could not find an API for crime that was one, free, or two, provided the data that we needed to create that heat map. Another feature we would like to develop is the ability for a user to save and compare results. We're already storing the data needed to accomplish this. We just need to display it on the user's profile. Our original goal was to have a user provide a desired city or state, fill out their preferences, and we would then scan for the perfect neighborhood based on the inputs. With the new world of remote work, users might be interested in moving somewhere they would have never even considered living. We want to use machine learning to tackle this stretch goal. I'll now pass it on to Michael, and we'll talk about some of the challenges faced.
Thank you, Daniel. For our challenges, during the planning stages of our app, we found out that websites like Zillow, Realtor.com, and Trillia already provides information we are going to have in Livable. We needed to differentiate our app from the others and ended up making a property matchmaking app. With so many third-party APIs to choose from, finding APIs that were reliable and allowed many calls was time-consuming, which led to the problem with scope in our scoring system that had to be based off number of calls allowed to each API. So, if you have found a property but I'm not sure if the surrounding area meets your needs, please visit Livable. This concludes our overview of the Livable app. We would now like to answer any questions you may have.
Awesome job, Livable. We have a couple of questions from the chat. Did you run into any conflicting data issues between your data sources and APIs? If so, how did you handle those challenges?
I could take this. I don't think we ran into conflicting data issues. There was definitely issues that we ran into trying to integrate all the APIs together, and that was just a learning curve that we hit. As far as data, it was pretty easy to parse through and work together with.
What did that data look like? And like, also, what was like the biggest challenge that you came across during development?
I think that the crime APIs was the biggest challenge we came across. That's something we definitely wanted to use for a heat map, but there were just no crime APIs out there that provided the data that we needed to create that heat map. Any of you other guys have anything else to say about that?
Yeah, there's a lot of that can get into a little bit of political discussion though about crime and how it's reported and how it's managed at each local police station. But we learned a little bit more about that through this project.
Awesome. Is this specifically for US, or say I want to go to Europe? Or
yeah, currently it's only in the US based on the APIs that we had available to us at the time. But I'm sure we could source out other data sources.
Awesome. Yep, that concludes the questions from the chat. Next, I'd like to introduce our next group, which is Date Night, a fun app that provides awesome ideas for an awesome date night. Take it away, Date Night.
Good afternoon, and on behalf of my team and I, we'd like to thank you for your time and participation in our graduation ceremony. We are Date Night, and we are pleased to introduce you to our date planning app. I'd like to start by introducing you to the team. My name is Julie Stone, and I'm a Navy veteran.
Hello, my name is Jeff Chan. I'm a Navy veteran and an active Navy reservist.
My name is Christian Beza, and I'm a Marine Corps veteran.
My name is Ashley Miller, and I'm a U.S. Navy veteran.
My name is Diana Vargas, and I'm a military spouse. My name is Tyler Abbott. I'm currently in the process of separating from the active duty Air Force, and I'll be taking us through a quick overview of what the date night application is. Who is date night for? Any of us that are in a long-term relationship or that are married will know the feeling of hitting the same restaurant or the same bar for date night over and over gets a little stale. So we designed date night as a site for couples to explore new and exciting date ideas together to help try to fill that void. So this is designed for customers or for couples who know what they like to do, but not exactly what they want to do on any given night. What does date night actually do? We have 4 core functionalities to our application. First, the couples are able to select using a quick survey from a series of preferences, and they'll receive curated activity options based upon their answers. From those options, they'll be shown local activities that fit their interests. Additionally, couples are able to add custom activities to the site so that others, when they complete the survey, can see the activities that they added. In essence, this creates a user-generated content stream. Additionally, through our resources page, we provide a one-stop shop for date support, including local weather reports, ride-sharing services, and babysitting options. Now, to see this in action, I'm going to pass it off to Christian for a quick demo.
Thank you, Tyler. So my girlfriend and I, we can't decide on a date, so we're actually going to go on date night for some help. When we first get to date night, we see this awesome homepage. Now, I'm going to click on join to start this demo and kick things off. This is an awesome sign up page. My partner and I, we already have an account, so I'm actually going to go to login instead. First, we're going to input our email and then our password. We can get started. As we log in, we see date night is asking the first partner to input their date preferences. I'm hungry, so I'm going to say yes for food. It's a little early to start drinking, so I'm going to put no for alcohol. I don't really want to be entertained. Not particularly in the mood for a class. I don't mind being adventurous, and I don't really want to be active. I'll hit submit, and now it's my partner's turn. Go ahead, sweetie. Why, thank you, honey bun. All right. So I'm definitely going to be hungry later, even though I said I wouldn't be. It's a little too early for a mimosa, even for my standards. So I'm going to click no. Not really in the mood to be entertained. I don't think I'm in the mood for a class either. I'm always down to be adventurous. I'm going to put yes, and I don't really want to play sports either. So I'll hit submit, and we'll see what we get. Thanks, Sugar Pie. I see some awesome date recommendations. On the top left, I see this box where I can input my zip code to get local options and the weather. I'll input my zip code, and after I click submit, sure enough, I get the weather for my area. I can also see some local options. Let's check those out. Oh, we've been meaning to go to an escape room, actually. And looking at the address, it doesn't seem like it's too far from us. I think we're going to go with this one for our date idea. I see there's an option to add a date idea so other couples can see it as a recommendation. Let's do that. I'll click on add activity. And then I see there's my partner and I also love the theater. So we're going to add that as an option for other couples to enjoy. I input a name and a description, and I'll choose what category it pertains to. For now, it's just entertainment. I'll submit it, and awesome, it was successfully submitted. I also see there's a resources page. Oh, that's pretty cool. I can click on Uber, and it'll take me to their page, and then I just have to log in, and I can get a ride. I can also click on the stroller to input my zip code, and I should get baby recommendations. That's pretty neat. I feel like this will be useful when we're traveling and we don't know an area. And with that, I'm going to hand it back to Ashley, who's going to talk about some of the challenges we faced.
Thank you, Christian, for that awesome demo. There were a few different challenges our team faced during the development of our application, with one of the biggest being planning what features our application would implement in the design format. So we had to decide what was realistic and what was more of a stretch goal. But we were ultimately able to agree on the vision of the project and what made the most sense as a user. We also ran into issues delegating tasks that complemented each team member's skill set, However, we were eventually able to get into the groove of working together and staying up to date with our Trello board. Our application was everyone's first large project, working in a team, and merge conflicts took up a lot of development time. We were able to overcome this challenge by ensuring we were all working on our future branch, which made pushing to the central repository more seamless. We also required 2 approvals per pull request to protect our main branch. And lastly, working remote was another difficult problem we faced, being in different time zones and deciding on when to schedule a time to meet that worked for all of us. We made sure to constantly keep in contact with each other and to communicate through Slack, Trello, Google Docs, and Zoom. We also pair programmed to assure that we met our daily objectives while continuing to learn from each other. And with that, I'll pass it off to Jeff.
Thank you, Ashley. We used various technologies in our project. For example, in the back end, we used Python and Django. In the front end, we used JavaScript and React. We used different styling libraries, including React Bootstrap and jQuery. For version control, we used Git command line interface and GitHub. Our application programming interfaces, also known as APIs, included those from Open Brewery for data on breweries and pubs, and Open Weather for weather data. Now, I'll pass it over to Diana, who will discuss our stretch goals.
Thank you, Jeff. We had a lot of stretch goals, and we like to have a mobile-friendly application. Give our users the option to have a joint account where each user will be able to add, edit, or delete. We also would like to add a feature allowing the users to swipe results left or right as they try to make a selection, as well as give them access to a history date in the timeline. These are just a few of our stretch goals. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. And that is date night. We spent a lot of time and effort pouring all the knowledge we gained during this cohort into our project. We hope you enjoyed our presentation, and we're opening the floor for questions now. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, date night. I have a couple of questions from the chat. What did you use for like password authentication on the back end or the front end?
On the back end, it was Django has a built-in user model, and we used that for the actual sign-in process. And then in terms of session authentication, we used JWT, passed a web token from the back end to the front end, which was then stored in local storage by the front end.
How did you approach the project? Did you use a sprints, Kanban board? How did you approach merge conflicts when PRing?
Yeah, so for our project management, we used Trello, and we initially started using Lucidchart as well, and Google Docs. And that was our main sorts of coming together and organizing our project for the first couple of days.
Awesome. Last question. Do any of the options also include the time of day or day of the week availability?
Yes, so when you get your date recommendations, based on the APIs that we used, we were able to see that it comes with an option of that local option if it's currently open or closed. So based on when you input your zip code, those results will be filtered out for the currently open places.
Awesome. Thank you, date night. Great job. Next, I'd like to introduce our next group, Baby Swiper, which will help me and my significant other and I decide on the name of our next child. Take it away, Baby Swiper.
Thank you, Tom. We are Team Baby Swiper, but before we get into our app and what it does, I would like to go around and introduce the team. My name is Caitlin Wilson. I am a military spouse, and my wife is currently serving in the Marine Corps.
Hey, my name is John Carlton. I'm currently in the Navy, and I'm transitioning out in January.
Hi, my name is Kyle Hartner, and I'm also currently transitioning out of the Navy.
Hi, my name is James Brooks, and I'm a U.S. Air Force veteran.
And I am Jacob Crawford, and I am a Navy veteran. Our last team member is Krista Pfeiffer, and she moved last week and couldn't be here today. We made Baby Swiper because we found couples want to choose from a big variety of names, but they don't want to read a big book of baby names. It's something that couples often talk about at random moments, but we wanted a way to systematically judge, store, and revisit those names with a partner. Although there were other apps like this, they were missing crucial functionality. There was no way to add a name unless it was already in the cards. The other app required a user and their partner to buy packs of additional names. And then the names did not disappear after they were left swiped. So while you could swipe on a name, there was no other information about that name. I'm going to hand it over to John to talk about the solution that we came up with.
Thanks, Jacob. So to solve these issues, we created Baby Swiper. Our app combines features of existing products and adds more. Baby Swiper has a database of nearly 24,000 names to pick from, ensuring you can swipe to your heart's content. Swipe through randomly selected names or input your own preferences to receive a personalized list of names to search through. If you can't find a name you like, you can also add your own. Once users like names, they can also drag and drop names to rank them, enabling a couple to see their favorite matched names. Finally, once a name is added, users can see information on that name, ranging from related names to celebrities with that name, and even the popularity of that name over the past few decades. Next, Caitlin and I are going to show you a demo of our app. Caitlin will start us off.
Thanks, John. So my partner, John, and I are expecting our first child very soon, but we're having a really hard time deciding on a name. A friend of mine told me about this new app called Baby Swiper that helped her and her partner choose a name when they were expecting. So I've decided to check it out. When I come to the splash page, I see a nice information about the app and what it does. So I decided to sign up and create a profile. From here, I see an overview of what the app can do. So I'm going to check out some features. If I go to recommended names, it looks like I don't have any yet because I haven't started swiping. If I go to like names, same thing. I see that I don't have any like names yet. So let me go to the swiping feature and see what that looks like. When I go there, I see a deck of cards with a bunch of names on them. Looks like they're from all sorts of different origins, but I can swipe left and right. When I swipe right, they get added to a like name pool that I can then drag and drop, it looks like, and save the order. I think it looks kind of cool, so I'm going to tell John to check it out and see what he thinks.
All right, so my partner told me about this app, so I decided to try it out. I've created an account, logged in, and now I can pair our accounts. So that creates a couple, and then we can input our preferences and receive a list of names based off those preferences. After swiping on these names, I get my list of like names, and I can go through and review them. Maybe I'll remove some that I'm not feeling so strongly about. I can also change the order and rank them accordingly. So this looks pretty cool. I think I want to create my own name though. So I'm going to go up and add my own name, and then I can rank that as well too. So after I do this, this will compare my likes with my partner's likes. So let's save these and then see what Caitlin's up to.
Now that John's had a chance to check out the app, I kind of want to see how our profiles interact with each other. So if I come back to my profile and go to my like names, I see that my two like names are still the same. But if I go to swipe names, I see that the names are now the same pool that John swiped through, English male baby names. I swipe all the way through, and finally I come across the name that John manually added, even though it wasn't in the pool to begin with. But swiping right, I see that it's a match, and it gets added to my like names list. Now I can kind of go through and also curate my names, sorting stuff, removing stuff that I don't really like anymore. And I moved Patty D up because I kind of like that name that John added. Now if I go to match page, I can see all the names that John and I matched on, and it looks like they're numbered. So I want to see what that's all about. If I go to like names and kind of rearrange stuff, I'm going to put Jeff at the top and save my order. And then going back to match page, I see that Jeff has moved up in the ranking. So it looks like the app is curating a list of mine and John's likes and giving me the results based on what we like the best together. If I want to see more information, I can open up the information tab and see different names that are related to Jeff, celebrity names, and its popularity throughout the decades. On the recommendation page, I can see other recommended names based on profiles that are a lot like mine. And I can add names directly from there and add them to my list and then drag and sort them just like any other name. And that's Baby Swiper. And I'm happy to say that thanks to Baby Swiper, John and I were able to pick out a name with no fighting. So let's talk about how Baby Swiper was born. We broke our development down into 4 main phases. The first was our plan and design phase, where we talked about what the app we wanted to build was, what it looked like, and who we were building it for. Then we moved on to researching tools and APIs to bridge the gap between the app we knew how to build and the app we wanted to build. Then we moved straight into development. We focused on our core functionality first, looking at our minimally viable product and getting that completely done before we moved on to anything else. Then we split off into groups. The first group styled what we already had, while a second group looked at quality assurance and bug fixes, and the final group went ahead to start building out the next feature of our app. We continued that cycle until we finished the app you saw in front of you today. We were only able to keep up that pace because of a daily schedule. We started every day with a daily stand-up where we talked about what we had done the day before, what we were planning on doing today, and discussing any potential blockers we had with our group. Then we moved on into individual and pair programming. As we worked throughout the day, we would update our team with advancements and pain points on Slack. And then at the end of every day, we would have a stand down where we would review what we had done, go through run-throughs of the app, and start planning the next day. It was only because of this open line of communication and this daily schedule that we were as successful as we were. And now I'm going to hand it off to Kyle, who's going to talk about the technology that we used.
Thanks, Caitlin. This slide is a quick overview of the technologies we used in this project. So starting at the top left, we used Python with Django. And one package we wanted to point out was the scikit learn package we used, which was key in correlating similar users in order for us to provide recommended names. On the front end, we used JavaScript with React. And the APIs we used was the Behind the Names API, the Celebrity Ninja API, and the Social Security Administration API, which provided the details that were shown in the demo. From the management perspective, we use Trello to track the development pipeline, as well as GitHub in order to control versions. And with that, I'll pass it on to James, who'll talk about some of the obstacles we overcame.
Thanks, Kyle. Yeah, during our development, we had several challenges. I'll just highlight a couple of them here. The first one being our original app idea was one called Greenview, excuse me. But during our planning phase, we had discussions about our goals and vision for the app. And after 2 days of deliberation and brainstorming, we all came to a consensus to pivot into the app that became Baby Swiper. Another roadblock that we had was an API limitation. We discovered that our API for gaining our names was limited to 6 names per call. And in order to populate a 24,000 name list, that was rather impractical. So we ended up having to build a tool in order to get our names some other way. And then we have some future releases. One is to curate user data and to show trends of user activity and popularity of names over time. Another is a pet name feature, one where you can have a list of names to name your pet cat or dog accordingly. And then also the ability to share your favorite names with your friends and family. And that concludes our presentation here, and we are open for any questions that you might have.
Awesome. Great job, Baby Swiper. We have a few questions from the chat. What was your decision in adding, like, what data, like celebrity names? Was there an option to add like origin and the meaning behind the names, as well as how did you deal with like unisex names? How do they come in from whatever API you're using?
I can handle that one, Tom. So we got all of our names. We ended up building a scraper and gathering all the names, so that stores the typical usage, whether that's masculine or feminine, in addition to the origin. So that's stored attached to the name. As far as unisex names go, those names are produced in a name pool, whether you enter male or female. So you'll see both of those depending on what you input.
Awesome. What was like 2 or a couple of the biggest challenges that you all faced as a team?
I can take a stab at that one. So I know that one of the things that challenged us most when we first came together was the shared vision of what the app would be. So our initial idea, as James mentioned, was a way to display environmental data. And it was a slightly broad vision, and we all had not conflicting ideas, but no clear idea. And so after kind of mulling that over for a day, giving it time to form, and without any like hard picture of what that looked like in our mind, what we all decided as a group together, and I think we did well to pivot on, was we had a very clear understanding of what we were going to do with the Baby Swiper app and what we wanted to achieve. And so, on day 2, we decided to make that decision and make a 180-degree pivot. And I think it ended up working out well for us.
Awesome. Great job. And that concludes the questions for Baby Swiper. So next, I'd like to introduce our next group, Trippy, the perfect app to plan the perfect road trip. Take it away, Trippy.
Thanks so much, Tom. We're super excited to show you guys what we've been working on over the last couple of weeks today, and that is Trippy, your adventure companion. But first, I'm going to go ahead and introduce the Trippy team. I'm Taylor. I'm in the Army National Guard, and I'm going to be talking to you today about why we created Trippy.
I'm Charles. I'm a Navy veteran, and I'll be running you through a demonstration of the Trippy app.
I'm Jeremy. I'm an Air Force veteran, and I'll be talking to you about the tools and technologies we've used.
I'm Wilson. I'm a Navy veteran, and I'll be telling you about the future of Trippy.
I'm Brian, and I'm a retired Air Force veteran, and I'm going to be talking to you about the challenges we faced making this project.
I'm Kyle. I'm an Army veteran, and I'm going to be talking about what Trippy is. So what is Trippy? Trippy was designed for the unhurried road tripper who believes that the trip is about the journey, not the destination. Trippy is an aggregator of points of interest based on the user's preferences that allows the user to select a starting point and a destination, provides them with a variety of places to explore along the way based on their selected criteria. I'm going to hand it off to Taylor to talk about why Trippy.
Thanks, Kyle. So we decided to create Trippy because we all had a common thought after being in quarantine for most of 2020 due to the pandemic. We needed to get out and create new experiences, but we didn't want to have to scrutinize over all the stressful details of planning a road trip that's actually meant to be a reprieve. So Trippy is the stress-free app designed for those that just want to enjoy the trip. The problem that Trippy set out to solve is that our competitors have a paywall in place that limits users to only experiencing the most basic functionality that their sites have to offer. They also have extremely limited customization options. You have a start point and an end point on a trip with a few stops in between, but that's about it. Their user interface is also extremely chaotic and hard to navigate, especially if you're on their site for the very first time. The solution is Trippy. It's completely free, and trips are tailored specifically to each individual user, as well as a customizable user profile. Our user-friendly swipe functionality also eliminates the possibility of that chaotic, hard to navigate user interface. I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Charles, who's going to give you a demonstration of Trippy.
Thanks, Taylor. I think in lieu of graduation, I want to plan a grad trip to Cleveland, Ohio to see my brother. So let's go ahead and log in. Awesome. And like I said, we're going to go to Cleveland. So let's type that in, Cleveland. And I want to do a medium budget. Let's start on the 15th. And I want to come back on the 19th. And so I want to drive, let's say, up to 400 miles a day and up to 8. We'll do a bed and breakfast. We'll do a unique stay. And I want to get there as fast as possible. Cool. And now this takes us to our swipe wizard. So let's say yes to that. Nope. 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 Definitely. Nope. 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 And not today. Yes. Awesome. And now this takes us to our map with our search results. And so if we go through here, let me see. I want to see if I can add something that's 5.0 rating. There's got to be one around here. Oh, there's one. Conquer Escape Room. Let's add that. And I saw something up here that kind of piqued my interest. So let's see where you are. Oh, there it is. Bay Beach Amusement Park. So I'm going to add that. Cool. And now I also have the option to add things from the map. So let's see here. I did want to go hiking. So let's add that. And of course, let's add in a water park. And let's add one more. Oh, Cedar Point. You have to hit Cedar Point when you go in Ohio. And you can see our current stops here on the left. And so I'm going to go ahead and update the route. 22-hour drive. That's actually not bad. And now you can see all our stops here. And I'm going to go ahead and finalize this route. Cool. And from here, we can save the route for future use. Let's do that. Say grad trip. I'm gonna go ahead and save. Awesome. And now here's the trip that we just made, as well as some other ones that I've taken in the past. For example, this one right here, I took from Texas to Florida, or a more scenic route from Los Angeles to Denver. And one of the cool things about Trippy is the community aspect. So if we can click on this photo right here, we're able to add comments. Let's see. Thanks, Trippy. That was great. Awesome. So let's go ahead and post that. It's a little bit of a shameless plug. Perfect. And you can kind of see how simple and easy to use Trippy is. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and log out, and I'm going to turn it over to Jeremy to talk about the technologies that we used.
Thanks, Charles. We wrote our application using Python with the Django REST framework talking to our Postgres database. We made our pages with JavaScript and React to help give our users a very smooth experience. We used Express to communicate with various Google APIs, and we used Bootstrap to give our web pages a very uniform appearance. We started out by brainstorming using a mural board and putting all of our ideas together there. And then after that, we wireframed out some ideas in Figma and really got a good grasp of what it was that we wanted to accomplish. After that, we built our to-dos and our backlog in a Trello board and made sure we kept that up to date and tracked our progress. And finally, we used Slack chat and Zoom video conferencing to stay in constant communication with our daily stand-up and stand-down. And with that, I'll pass it off to Brian to talk about some of the speed bumps.
Thanks, Jeremy. There are a lot of challenges we faced creating this project. Learning to code on a collaborative project is challenging in and of its own right. Ensuring that we didn't step on each other's code, breaking a working app after merging a team member's code, and figuring out lesser known Git commands when things broke were common at first until we got our workflow down. Picking and implementing the right third-party APIs to get our locations from was hard to decide. Cost, simplicity, data that we needed to provide for specific tasks resulted in research that let us pick Google Places, Destinations, and Maps APIs. Handling all the edge cases from manipulating components to handle different data types returned by Google's API was a challenge. This led to a lot of code being written and tested. Now I'll pass it off to Wilson to talk about what's down the road.
Thanks, Brian. We want to be able to support the ability to take in user preferences for destinations and give them a tailored option to choose from. Like if they really want to go somewhere with beaches and amusement parks, we could suggest Santa Cruz or Los Angeles. Additionally, we wanted to tailor the trip to their vehicle type. So if they were driving an RV, we could offer them stops with RV parks instead of hotels. In the same vein, we also wanted to build a page where road trips could be shared and rated, as well as some Trippy-built themed road trips, like historic landmarks or an off that could be shared and used by our users. Finally, we have some ideas to increase our optimization that would speed up the process of multiple API requests. With that, I'd like to open it up to any questions that you might have.
Awesome. Great job, Trippy. I have a couple of questions. If I wanted to take Trippy on the road, is there any way I can export it to some third party like Google Maps or Apple Maps or anything like that?
At this time, we don't have the functionality, but since we closely work with Google Maps, I'm sure it's something we can accomplish in the near future.
Okay, awesome. Also, with the Google Maps, how did you determine whether to use Google Maps or MapOps or any other type of mapping software?
I could take this one. So we decided on using Google Maps just for like, there's so many like out of the box functionality that we kind of needed, like the places services and the location services and the ability to, like, if you saw me being able to hover over an icon and kind of just show you the address and whatnot. So that's pretty much like what led us to our decision to using that.
Awesome. What was one of the bigger technical hurdles that you had to overcome?
I could take that as well. So one of the problems with Google Maps, or specifically the Google Maps JavaScript API, is you actually do not have access to it until the component mounts. So when you're going through the swipe wizard, you're building like a big request. And if we were just to send that as soon as the component mounts, it might take a hot minute for the request to come in. So what we ended up doing was we ended up sending up Node and as a proxy. So when the user was swiping, we were sending that off to the backend to make a request. And by the time that the map actually loaded up, we actually had a polyline, which is like which is the route pretty much. And then we had markers. So by the time that the component mounts, like the user's not waiting, like maybe 15, 20 seconds for that ginormous like request coming in.
Awesome. Our last question is, what did you use for like campground information? Does it include dispersed camping or boondocking sites?
So I can take that. That's one of the added functionalities that we really wanted to have more of. We weren't quite able to get to all of the camping functionality that we wanted to have. We found a couple APIs that would be really useful for that, and we started to research them, but we just didn't quite have the time to implement it.
Awesome. Great job, Trippy. That concludes the questions. So lastly, I'd like to introduce our last group, Code Room, an awesome app that will help us code platoon instructors in future cohorts. Take it away, Code Room.
Thank you, Tom. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for attending our graduation. Our group created the web-based application, Code Room. My name is Greg Matchett, and I'm currently transitioning out of the United States Army. I was responsible for the challenge page, the collaborative IDE, and the video chat functionality. I'll be presenting the demo of our app.
My name is Brendan. I am a 5-year Air Force veteran. I was responsible for setting up our basic React app with custom themes, building out a lot of the instructor flow, and our hosting. Today, I'll be telling you about the technologies that we used.
Hello, I'm Joshua Franklin, and I'm an 8-year Marine veteran. I was responsible for the database and backend API creation, along with Justin, and a few front-end components. Today, I'll be speaking to you about some of the challenges we faced, our workflow, and the future of our app.
Hi, everybody. My name is Justin Cordero, and I'm a Navy veteran. And along with Josh, I was responsible for the database and building out our REST API backend. And I also built some of the front-end features. And today I'll be giving you the overhead view of Code Room and tell you a bit about who it's for. So Code Room started as an idea from a pain point that we all experienced during one of our lectures here at Code Platoon. Our instructor, Chad, wanted to demonstrate a concept to us by having us work in groups to solve a quick challenge. But the problem was that there was no way for us to collaborate in real time to solve the problem, run our code, and communicate effectively without using multiple tools that required account creations or downloads. So Code Room's a project that's aimed at improving the learning experience for new developers by allowing educators to provide immediate access to online coding environments that can be worked in by groups of their students in real time in a remote setting with no overhead. Code Room supports 5 of the most popular programming languages and allows educators to easily create coding challenges and separate code rooms containing that challenge. Students simply join the code room and get right to work. So you might be wondering, what's the difference between Code Room and other online IDEs? Well, what makes Code Room stand out from the rest is that it provides both a code editor and a compiler that gives instant feedback about your code. It allows for real-time collaboration. It includes video chat capability, requires no downloads, and it doesn't even require students to create accounts. So now I'm going to pass it off to Greg to give you a demo of Code Room.
Thank you, Justin. Now let's see how Code Room works. Here, we have a new instructor signing into his account. We'll call him Charles. Charles is new to Code Room, and so he does not have any challenges in his dashboard yet. So he decides to get started by working with a couple of sample challenges, which are provided by Code Room out of the box. Here he looks at his challenges and goes with the Python challenge, Roman to integer, as well as goes back to grab the JavaScript challenge, valid parentheses. His dashboard still looks a little empty though, so he decides to create a few more. That's better. Charles now has the ability to view all of his challenges and a brief overview in each of these cards. But Charles wants to create a new challenge specific to his class today. Here he is greeted with a new page where he can create his challenge in one of 5 supported languages: JavaScript, Python, C, C++, and Java. He can also use a fully functioning integrated IDE to write his challenge in, or simply copy and paste previous code. Here, he opts to write it out. The IDE provides syntax highlighting to help make it easy for Charles to quickly write out his challenge's starter code that his students will use to build off and solve his challenge. After he saves his challenge, it will then become available on his dashboard along with all the other previous challenge. He now has the ability to generate unique links for this challenge that he can send out to individual students or groups that they may use to access their respective code room. Let's see what this looks like through the eyes of a student. Here's our student. We'll call her Sarah. She receives a unique link in her email that she can use to access her assigned code room. Upon clicking the link, she is brought to a sign-in page where she is asked to sign in with her first and last name. After which, she is brought to the student challenge page. This page includes a challenge description, language, collaborative IDE, and terminal, as well as a live video chat feature. Sarah's shy, so she's going to keep her video muted. She is then joined by her classmate Greg, and they begin collaborating as more students join the room and activate their cameras. Each student has a live view of the code and can all make changes in real time. Students are all assigned colors that help identify them by their cursor and highlights. When students are ready to test their code, they can click the Run button, which will compile and run their code, outputting the result, or if there are any errors, to the terminal. Successfully run code will output the result of the code, the speed of execution, as well as the amount of memory used. This allows users to test and optimize their code before they decide they have the best solution to the challenge. When students feel they have the solution, they can all agree to submit the code, after which all students will be locked out of the challenge simultaneously. Now, let's get back to Charles. After waiting some time, Charles goes back to his submissions. He simply clicks the challenge that he sent out, and all the submissions will be displayed in a paginated list with all of the code submitted, the contributors, and the time it was submitted. Here, we see all of the student submissions for this specific challenge. And at the bottom here, we see our very own Sarah's submission, as well as all the other contributors to that code. And that concludes the demonstration. Now I'll pass it off to Brendan to talk about the technology we use to build our application.
Thank you, Greg, for that demo. The material that we learned throughout the Code Platoon curriculum was essential to getting our app off of the ground, but to bring our full vision to fruition, it required us each taking on multiple new technologies that we had never used. Leveraging the Django REST framework allowed us to quickly set up our CRUD operations, user authentication, and permissions so that data could only be accessed by and for the users that it's tied to. On the front end, React was utilized with a combination of styled components and Material UI to allow us to rapidly develop a great UX-focused and consistent front end. But one of our main goals really was to make tackling these coding challenges easier for the students so that they can focus on the task at hand rather than setting up their environments. Firebase's real-time database was one key in our success with this. It is what allows the students to collaborate in real time with the instant updates to everyone's code editor while persisting that data for the instructor to then see later on. A Judge Zero API compiles our code and returns the results, as Greg had mentioned earlier. And lastly, Agora was the last tool critical in achieving this real-time collaboration. Its communications services made setting up channels for specific rooms simple. Lastly, our application wouldn't be convenient if we were to ask instructors to clone our code and set up their own servers. So for deployment, we wanted to make it fast, reliable, and secure. To achieve this, we chose to containerize our full stack with Docker and host everything on Google Cloud on a Google Cloud Compute instance and run it using Docker Compose. This allowed us to have multiple images without the need for a full-blown container cluster like Kubernetes. And finally, for security, we used a certbot script that's running as a volume to check our TLS certificates every 12 hours and renew them with Let's Encrypt as a certificate authority if needed. Finally, to pass it off to Josh, he'll tell you a little bit about the challenges that we faced.
Thank you, Brendan. We encountered our biggest challenges early in the project when trying to decide on our scope and which technologies to use. Our initial choice of technology required each of us to learn an entire new stack of tech, limiting the scope of the project that we could feasibly accomplish during our sprint. Our chosen stack instead, we were able to spend more time adding the features we wanted most. After making this decision, the rest of the project was smooth sailing, even our conflicts. And though we still encountered challenges such as integrating and rendering our collaborative IDE in React, we were able to overcome them through teamwork. We'd like to credit this smoothness to our workflow process based on agile development and our group cohesion. We leveraged our daily stand-ups and stand-downs, backlog refinement, and continuous development with branch protection on GitHub to consistently deliver on our target tasks. Our group cohesion and constant communication with collaboration tools like Slack, Trello, and Limnu ensured an environment where every team member could speak freely, whether to ask for help when needed or to voice a disagreeing opinion. So what's next for Code Room? A few ideas we had for future sprints, including allowing an instructor to add their own test cases for student submissions. This ties in nicely with our second point, which is a point system to allow an instructor to create some sense of competitiveness or to monitor students' progress based on completing test cases or solution efficiency. Third, we'd like to expand our current selection of sample challenges to include a wider breadth of languages and even allow some community submission. And lastly, we'd like to reduce our downtime during deployments by adding automated testing and integration. We'd like to thank you for joining us today and encourage you all to sign up for a free account at coderoom.us if you'd like to try it for yourself. And now I'd like to open up the floor to questions.
Awesome. Great job, Code Room. Awesome app. Is there a level? Yeah, we have a couple of questions from the chat. Is there a level of difficulty that you can assign to each challenge so the tutor knows what assignments to send based on the student's level?
I'll let Greg take that.
Yeah, so we don't have at the moment any difficulty setting per se. The main functionality was to be able to have the professors create their own and just be able to essentially really quickly create a challenge and send it to their students immediately. So I guess the most general use case would be that the professor already kind of knows where the students are, considering that they're utilizing our app to kind of push it out to their students.
Right. What made you consider like Google Cloud or over, Microsoft Azure or AWS to deploy your application?
Brendan, you want to take that one?
I'll take that. So we had initially deployed it on an instance of EC2, but I'm unemployed, and the free tier of EC2 was the shared gig of RAM was not enough to build our container and run the React app. So Google Cloud has a $300 free credit that we're eating up here running our app right now. That was the biggest reason.
What was the biggest technical hurdle that you had to overcome?
Greg, would you like to take that as well?
Yeah, sure. So I think the biggest one, and we touched on it earlier, was kind of finding the right technology to use. We spent the first 2 or 3 days kind of just settling on the technology that was going to work for us, specifically for getting a IDE functioning within the browser and then connecting that with interactivity. So basically kind of just combining all those aspects together and making it work without crashing our browser was definitely the biggest challenge. But we were able to tie it all together pretty quickly thanks to Firebase.
Awesome. Yeah, great job, Code Room. And that concludes the questions from the chat. So yeah, great job, everyone, and fantastic demos. In just 2 weeks, you built these amazing applications, and I can't wait to see what you all are able to accomplish in the future. As mentioned before, my name is Tom Preet. I'm the lead instructor here at Code Platoon, and I'm accompanied by my incredible instructor colleagues, Chad Mowbray and Ankur Shah. I'd also like to thank Chris Howell, who's an amazing developer, Code Platoon alumni, and our teaching assistant. Next, I'd like to thank our amazing TA interns, Micaiah Dupree, Akash Batal, as well as Daniel Vargas and Liam Sullivan. Your assistance and support throughout the last 3 months has made November Platoon a success, and Ankur, Chad, and I can't thank you enough. Now for closing ceremonies, congratulations, Tyler Abbott.
Congratulations, Ahmed Abuzida.
Congratulations, Andrew Austin.
Congratulations, Christian Beza.
Congratulations, Isaiah Bragg.
Congratulations, James Brooks.
Congratulations, Charles Carbonell.
Congratulations, Jonathan Carlton.
Congratulations, Jeff Chan.
Congratulations, Taylor Colton.
Congratulations, Justin Cordero.
Congratulations, Jacob Crawford.
Congratulations, Kevin Doan.
Congratulations, Joshua Franklin.
Congratulations, Jeremy Friedrichsen.
Congratulations, Wilson Goff.
Congratulations, Kyle Hartner.
Congratulations, Brian Jensen.
Congratulations, Dylan Johnson.
Congratulations, Stephen Lawless.
Congratulations, Gregory Matchett.
Congratulations, Daniel Manfield.
Congratulations, Ashley Miller.
Congratulations, Kyle Nagel.
Congratulations, Michael Orland.
Congratulations, Joe Patano.
Congratulations, Krista Pfeiffer.
Congratulations, Michael Powers.
Congratulations, Jose Rodriguez.
Congratulations, Brendan Schumacher.
Congratulations, Kyle Stiff.
Congratulations, Julie Stone.
Congratulations, Tasneem Tarash.
Congratulations, Diana Vargas.
Congratulations, Caitlin Wilson.
And finally, last but not least, congratulations, Michael Zura. We at Code Platoon want to congratulate all students. You guys spent so much time, energy, effort, so much of you guys' lives in the last 4 months with the program. We hope you guys learned a lot, and we obviously wish you success after graduating Code Platoon.
Congratulations, y'all. November Platoon dismissed. Awesome job, everyone.